Falcon 2.8 just came out. I contacted the company a while ago because I wanted to dig into the patches of Expressive Ease Touche controller. So they sent me the software and I just haven't had time to make a video on it. Well, the new version just came out. I saw the video by Venus Theory. The new features look amazing. So I want to look at some of the new features, but more also just look at the software from a new perspective. I haven't really touched this thing at all. I've also watched a great video by Quanta. So those are the two things that I sort of preface this video with. So I don't know much about it other than that. And UVI is not paying me to make the video, but they did send me the software for free. They don't have a say over what I say in this video. So I don't think they're gonna have to worry about that though, because from what I could tell, this software looks really good. So let's just play through some of these patches, look at the interface and see what all the hubbub is about. What this instrument is a sampler and a synthesizer. So it's got ways of loading samples and loops and treating them in a granular fashion, treating them in a regular sampler fashion, mapping them out over the keyboard. When I first loaded up this instrument, I thought, boy, this reminds me of other virtual instruments where the text is really small. I went immediately to the preferences to see if I could make this bigger, or to this little drop-down menu, and I could see that it's resizable, and I'm thinking, oh man, is that all it is? It's just resizable interface, because that's not scalable. And some of you are already freaking out because you know that I'm just looking at the wrong spot. If I click this little wrench and go to the actual preferences, here we can see, we can choose the background color, and I like the dark gray one here. And then if we go to UI scaling, now we can make the user interface gigantic, because let's face it, my screen is just too small. I know this is ridiculous, but if I was working on the laptop, default size of the software would just be way too tiny with all of this text. Text just scales up so beautifully. Really, really liking the look of this. And watching Quanta's video, I got the sense that there is a big hierarchy of patch creation in this software, where you can save a multi, and that is going to be, could be a combination of a whole bunch of different patches and parts and laid out over the keyboard and stacked on top of each other, all with different effects at each level of this tree. Let's go over here and just load up a patch. And I'm just going to type in 2.8 in the search field. And you can see that the 100 new patches or so that just came with the new update all show up in the right-hand side. So we'll play with these ones today, but let's just load up a patch. Let's go to an arpeggiated patch. And one thing I'm not sure if I'm getting wrong, it doesn't look like we get an audio preview of the patch. If I just click on the patch, then nothing happens, but if I double click, so a really nice patch, that sounds great. But now that we've got a patch loaded, we can see that it's under a part. And then if I click this drop down, we can see, I think this is called a program. And then we have layers inside that program. So we can now see these 3 different layers. I can solo them. Oh, fun. Okay, so now let's click the edit button and just see how these different layers are grouped. Okay, so there is layer 3, there's layer 2, and there's layer 1. So let's click on layer 1 right here. So if we click the effects, we can see if there's any effects on that layer. We can see a script processor. What is that? Okay, so that script processor is obviously what's giving us our arpeggiation. I click on that and we have this thing called the ostinato arp. Cool, okay. Now this is a new feature of the 2.8 update. Up at the top of this patch, if we look over in this left area, which is this button right here, we can see that this entire patch has these effects built into it. So it looks like if I turn off all the effects there, we still have some effects. So there must be some effects on a different layer. So here we can see a delay that's on layer 2. And here we can see, other things like this arpeggiator that's happening. Let's turn off this script processor. There we go. And now we just have the arpeggiator on layer 3. Now we've got just the patch. Very cool. So we've got different arpeggiators and script processors happening on the different layers within this patch. This is really powerful. Really impressed with how it looks. Okay. Let's take this up an octave. Or down an octave. Very cool arpeggiator. Let's see what happens with this one right here. Let's try advanced and see. Oh, there we go. So we've got an arpeggiator and we can, looks like we can choose a key. Oh, let's go to Dorian. Where's Dorian? There we go. And let's set it to D Dorian. Okay, so I'm not sure about the rest of this. I'm gonna have to look into this, but the fact that you can set it to key already has me kind of won over. Really powerful. That's gonna be great to dig into. So what I think we should do now is just kind of go through some of these new patches. I'm gonna go back to the 2.8 patches over here in the browser. Let's start with some of these keys. All right, try another one. Let's try some of the sequence patches out. Oh, that's super fun. Okay, so we can see the main simple view of this is really nice. Let's assign this one here to the mod wheel. So it's adding the texture. Let's just assign that to the slider right here. There we go. Ooh, that's fun. Let's put that in. Let's make another falcon. Let's see what they've got for drums. Let's try one of these funky ones. The preview obviously works for loops and audio files, and that's what this is right here. Okay, so we're just gonna have that little drum beat play throughout. That'll be good enough for now. We'll just call that beat. Let's try a bass patch. Double click. Patches featuring this new texture oscillator, which seems really neat. You can watch Venus Theory go and import some textures and then turn them into pitch tonal instruments, playable instruments, just from sounds, from noise. So it's using a resonant filter that's actually making like a fundamental frequency and then the harmonics so that you get a tone out of noise. Okay, let's add another patch. Okay, so I just added a couple more patches from the 2.8 library, and initial impression, absolutely loving it. Love these new patches. They sound amazing. Really going to be digging into this software in the future. So thanks UVI for sending it over, and hit the subscribe button and the bell if you're new here. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.